Hello, Sue here from Sue's Dog Rock Life Kitchen. I hope you're all well, not going too nutty in the weird old wacky world we now find ourselves living. Gets more and more weird every single day. Sorry I haven't created any videos for a while, but I've actually been busy in my garden and doing my polytunnel, and also it's absolutely freezing in my kitchen. I've got the oven doors open right now, so I'm warming up. Otherwise I'd be absolutely frozen out here. So today I'm actually going to make a cake, a low carb cake actually, and this is my own version of this cake that I'm making today. So it's called Sue's Gluten and Sugar Free Fruit Cake. So I'm making a fruit cake, but I'm not putting any sugar in it whatsoever, and I'm not using any kind of flour. I'm using natural, I'm actually going to make the flours myself, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do them. And let's get cracking, shall we? So I hope you're not going too mad in the world we now live in. There's crazy nonsense going on. Anyway, so in front of me is all the ingredients for this cake, okay? So what I'm going to be using, so I'll read out the ingredients to you, and if you want the recipe, just ask me and I'll put the ingredients below, and then you can follow along with this recipe. So this is going to be not a very carby cake, and it's gluten free, okay? So it's gluten free and not many carbs in it. So here we go. So we're going to be using some glacier cherries, we're going to be using some mixed fruit, we're going to be using some dates, we're going to be using some cranberries, and we're going to be using some almonds for almond flour, plus also some almonds to go into the cake. So there's some almonds there, not blanched, whole almonds with the skin on. We're going to be using some oats to make into oat flour, and we're going to be using some almonds to make some almond flour, and we're going to be using some rice. So I've got this massive bag of rice here, and I'm actually making some rice flour with that today. So you can use any combination of fruit, okay? But the fruit has to add up to 350 grams, okay? So whatever combination of fruit you want, whatever you've got in your cupboard, don't go out and buy anything special. If you haven't got mixed fruit, just use sultanas, currants, raisins. I've got these dried cranberries, so I'm going to put some of these in. And I'm using for the sugar, which we're not having in our cake, we're using some dates for the sugar, alright? Because dates are really, really, really sweet. And we don't need any sugar in this cake, okay? So we're not putting any sugar in it whatsoever, apart from natural sugar from the these. Plus the glacier cherries probably have some sugar in them. You don't have to have glacier cherries in it if you don't want. Just use dried fruits, okay? But we need to soak the fruit. So what I've got in here is some tea. So there's a litre of tea in here. I've just got the tea bags in it still. And the first thing we need to do is weigh out the fruit, and we need to soak it in the tea, okay? Because you could use orange juice if you want, but then orange juice has sugar in it. And I don't want to add extra sugar into our cake. So we're only going to be using this to, and we might keep a little bit of the tea to see how moist the cake goes, and then we'll use a little bit. We will not be using a litre of tea though. In this water I have 4 tea bags, okay, to make a strong tea. So we're going to take the tea bags out, because the first thing we're going to do is weigh out the fruit, because what I'm going to have to do is soak the fruit for an hour, and then we come back in an hour once the fruit is soaked. Or you could do the fruit the day before and then soak it and leave it in the fridge for, or well, just leave it on the side or something for the day and do it the next day. But I want to make this cake today and not tomorrow. So I'm just taking the tea bags out. So what we're going to do is weigh out all the fruit that we need. Just doing my scales here. So we're going to use a combination. So you need So if you was doing it another method, you could use 100 grams of glacier cherries, 100 grams of sultanas and 100 grams of raisins, and then fix 50 grams of mixed peel. I'm not using mixed peel in this recipe today. We're just going to make it up to 150 grams with the glacier cherries I have, the mixed fruit that I have, and the cranberries that I have, okay, and the dates, okay. So we're not using sugar in this recipe, okay. Right, so first thing we need to do is get a bowl, weigh the bowl so it doesn't weigh nothing, and then we're going to add the mixed fruit, okay. So we want 200 grams of mixed fruit. So there we are, that's 200. Oh, it's very cold, isn't it, today? It's actually, what day is it? It's the 11th of February today. And I went out in the garden this morning doing some gardening clearing, and it was so cold. Oh, it was -3. It's -3 degrees at the moment. I was outside clearing the garden. Like a nutcase that I am. But still, I managed to clear some. My aim is to clear the garden every single day, unless it's pouring down with rain. Right, so I've got 200 grams of fruit in here. So we're going to add, we'll add 50... we'll add 50 grams of cranberries. Right, so we'll make that up to 250. You can add any combination of fruit, okay? So don't let things get you down if you haven't got the ingredients, okay? And then we're going to add some cherries. So I'm going to just cut them up. So we're going to add 50 grams of these. You don't have to add these, okay? I just want to add them because I've got them in my cupboard and I might as well use them up. So that's the motto. Because they don't last forever, these cherries. So you might as well use them while they're still fresh and you've got them left over from your Christmas cake or any other fruit cake that you bought. Or made, not bought. So if you've got a low carb, gluten-free cake recipe, please let me know, because I'm always on the lookout for a low carb gluten-free cake, okay, because I really, we love a bit of fruit cake, me and Simon, but we don't want all them carbs, and also, you know, we don't want sugar in it. Right, I'm just adding these, so that's 302 grams. I'm going to add all these because I want to get rid of these cherries. Actually, I might keep those 4 to put on the top of the cake. Okay, so I'm going to use them as decoration, and I'm going to decorate the cake afterwards just with a bit of fruit on the top with some of these cranberries and some of those cherries. So I think I will probably soak some of these cranberries as well, so it looks nice on the cake. So we've got so far 304 grams. So next we're going to add, so it's 350 it has to add up to. We're going to add our dates, okay? And we're not putting sugar in this, so you could add a few more dates if you want to, but I'm not. I probably might add, that'd probably be enough actually, because remember this fruit is sweet. You know, fruit is sweet. It's not non-sweet. I don't want any sugar in this or artificial sweeteners. I do not like artificial sweetener, and I will not use it. So none of my recipes have got any kind of artificial sweetener in, and I don't want to use sugar. So we're using dates. So it's good to cut them with a pair of scissors actually, and also they add texture to the cake. Right. Says 300. Right, I'm going to do 360 because if you added sugar, you would add 150 grams of sugar if you actually wanted to put sugar in it, but I'm not actually putting any sugar in it. But I'm going to add a little bit more, maybe 370 grams of fruit in total. Okay, so that's the total volume of fruit. So, right, that's it. Okay, so we've now got all our fruit, and so what we're going to do now, there's all the fruit in there. We're going to soak this, okay? So we're going to put it over here, and we're going to soak it. So I'm just going to pour this tea over, and then we're going to leave it there to soak for an hour. But in the meantime, we're nowhere near finished. Right, so the next process, so we've got that done, whoops, for our ingredients, right? So I'm making my flours today, but you don't have to. You can go and buy yourself some rice flour. It's supposed to be sweet rice flour. I don't want it sweet, I'm just using normal rice and normal almonds, but you could buy almond meal, you can buy rice flour, and you can buy oat flour. But I'm making mine today, and I'm going to be using some ghee instead of butter, okay, because I haven't got much butter left, and I've ordered some, but it's not coming till the 13th. So I'm going to use pure ghee, which is clarified butter, okay, but it's the same basically. So what we need, so we've done the fruit, so we've got that soaking. So what we need to do is weigh out the flours and make them, okay, so we're going to jump to that first. So we need 60 grams of ground almonds, okay, so we're going to use these almonds. We're not blanching them today, we're just going to grind them up. So I've got my grinder here, which is my little coffee grinder. Whoa, oh blimey, there we are. That looks like it's going to soak up all that liquid, by the way. So first of all, we need to grind our almonds. So I use my little coffee grinder, which I've had for a long time. And so we need 150 grams. Did I just, no, 60 grams, sorry. So we have to do them a bit at a time. So you just put them in here and you just grind them up. I have to use a special spoon because I grind up the almonds. Right, and then we're going to weigh it because we need 60 grams. So we're going to weigh it. Probably have to do this a couple of times. Oopsie daisy. 60 grams. Oh, it's 70 grams. Oh, we've already made enough of that. Right, what we do is we leave it at 70 grams. Remember, when you use almond flour, it uses up a lot of liquid as well. The almonds soak up loads of liquid, so remember that. So we're going to use 70 grams of almonds flour, and then we're going to use, so we'll only use 20 grams of oat flour now. So we've got our oats here, and we do the same thing. So you just grind it up. This is how you make different flours. You don't have to go out and buy them all. Just get a grinder, it's cheaper, and make them yourself. Own powdered sugars as well, you know, like icing sugar and stuff. I make all my own, and your own caster sugar. You don't have to go out and buy all these special things, it's just money making things. So there we are, so there's our, there's our oat flour. See, it's so simple, you just make them yourself, you don't need to go and buy all this stuff, it's ridiculous. They just charge you a fortune for all these different flours, and this is all it is, by the way. You just grind them up yourself. So, we were going to use 20 grams. Whoop, see, you don't need much. And with the rest you can just use it as porridge, by the way. And that's ready brack. So you can just make your own ready brack. You know, all these things that cost a fortune, right? Just make your own. So I'll eat that for breakfast tomorrow. But I do like, what's it? Remember these soak up a lot of liquid, these flours. Oh, we'll get there in a minute. Oh, I swear it keeps going up. Go, down. It's not much flour actually. Right, so we'll mix that in with our almond flour. So in here we have our almonds and our oat flour mixed together. Now we're going to do the rice. So for the rice we need 80 grams, okay? So we're just using normal rice, we're not buying special rice. And we're not having it sweet either because I don't want it sweet. So, well, I might have to use a spoon for this one. This is rather a large bag. So we'll just get some rice and just pour it in here. This is just, what is this rice? Oh, basmati rice, this is. So we need 80 grams, so that's still not much rice. Right, let's see how much that is. Okay. You can always tell when they're done because they stop making that weird noise. You want to make sure you ground up your rice properly though. You don't want chunks of rice in your cake. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, perfect. Right, that's good. So we're only having 80 grams of rice flour. Oh, it's only 49 grams. We need a bit more than that. So 49 grams. So another lot of that. Oh, it smells like, you know, what you give babies. You know, rice, ground rice. That's what you give babies when they're first little, when they first eat. Well, I did. I could have, if I'd known this, I could have made my own. Saved myself a fortune. It's all this money-making stuff. There we are. So, let's see how much that is now. Let's see. Oops, that's rather a lot. Right, let me just get another bowl because I just need to... So there's my two flours. So in there is oat flour, in there is rice flour that I just made, okay? So you don't need to go and buy these things, especially if you're on a, you know, a low carb diet. You just, look, that's flour now, that's rice, that's normal rice ground up, okay? That's all it is. And now add it to your other two flours that we've just made. I've got a massive bag of rice. I'm ready for the apocalypse. See? So I don't have to go shopping. Right. So that's our rices all mixed together. So we'll just mix them up. We'll just mix them up. So that's your flour basically. So you're not using wheat flour in this. You're using these gluten-free flours, okay? We're not using any kind of wheat flour, okay? Because wheat flour has the gluten in it, and we're not doing that. Right, so that's that. So what else do we need? Okay, so we're not using any sugar, so we're having 2 eggs, right? I have my own eggs here from my own chickens. So today we're going to use, so I've got 2 standard size eggs from my big chicken who lays an egg a day, and then I have my little bantam eggs. They're so cute. And they're now laying eggs, my bantams. So now some of them have started laying eggs, not all of them, but some of them have. But don't size deceive you because these are just as big as a normal egg. They're like concentrated in these tiny shells, but when they pop out of these shells, you would not see a difference really between a normal medium-sized egg to one of these. The yolk is exactly the same size. The only bit that's less is the white bit, but the yolk is exactly the same size. Very deceiving. So I'm going to use 3 of these little bantam eggs, okay, today. So I've got 3 in here. I've got loads more there, but we're going to use 3 of these. So we're just going to break them into our bowls, and they are amazing, these eggs. I mean, look, there's, oh, I don't know, oh, I can't tip it, I'll tip it onto the floor. But the yolk is exactly the same size as a normal standard size egg, okay? So we're using 3 of these. So you would use 2 medium eggs, or 3 bantam eggs, and I've got my eggshell pot over here. Oh, and I'm going to be making a video for my polytunnel and my garden, which I've been very busy in. And in that video, I will show you my compost bin that my man made for me last weekend. So I've got a really wonderful compost bin now. So all this stuff that I collect here, my tea bags, my coffee grounds, my bits of rubbish from the leaves of the plants and stuff, and leaves from the veg and the old orange peels, banana peels, anything like that goes in there straight onto my compost bin. And I've got a whole box of eggshells because we eat a lot of eggs, and all of those are going to go in my compost bin. So I've got my compost bin now. I absolutely am so over the moon. So I've been really busy doing loads of outside work, doing gardening, doing seeds. Go and look at my other video if you're at all interested in growing your own food, which is what I'm going to be doing. And I've been collecting loads and loads of seeds recently and doing them all in the polytunnel. So in my polytunnel I've got stacks of seeds that I've done, and they're all just sitting there waiting for the weather to warm up now so they can germinate. Anyway, let's get back to this. So we've got our eggs here. So we've got 3 bantam eggs, okay, or 2 standard size eggs, and then we need 150 grams of softened butter. So I'm using this ghee, the same as butter really. It's just clarified. So we're going to, oh, it's quite cold in here, so it would definitely have to be weighed in here. It'll warm up eventually. Fat, this is low carb, high fat diet that we're on. So we do not get rid of dairy. I do not make no dairy food. So if you want to go and make a no dairy cake, you have to go and find a different recipe. This has got dairy in it, okay, but it is low carb and no gluten, okay, which is really important for me because I do seem to suffer from coughing when I eat gluten, okay. So I actually made a low carb bread, which is really successful. It still has gluten in it though, because from a wheat gluten, but it is a lot less fattening than normal bread with the wheat flour. It doesn't have wheat flour in it. It has linseed flour in it actually, which I also make. So nip over there and go and have a look, and that's for a bread machine, okay. The particular one that I'm making right now is really successful in a bread machine. I've made many loaves now. I usually make one loaf a week. We don't eat too much bread. We try not to eat too much, even if low carb bread. Right, so we've got 150 grams of our butter, which we will soften once we need it. And then you need the 60 grams of ground almonds, flour, 30 grams of oat flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder. But remember, I done that slightly, so you could have 70 grams of rice flour 20 grams of oat flour. You can do it differently. Just experiment and see what comes out best, right? So 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Okay, so put that in there. Give it another stir. And then we're going to have to leave it there for now until we come back when our fruit is done, okay? And 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So I've got this lovely Himalayan salt that I bought. It's much better for you than table salt. So try and buy yourself a decent salt. Good quality salt is what you need. Get away from table salt. Table salt is good for the garden to get rid of weeds in parts, mixed with white vinegar. That's what I use in the summer, and it kills them stone dead. Goes down to the roots. Do it on a summer's day. Really works. Right, so, and that's it. So we've got the fruit for the decorating. We've made this is the dry ingredients, and we've done our eggs, we've got our butter ready, and we're waiting for the fruit to soak up all the tea. So we'll be back. Oh, one thing, sorry, forgot to tell you. You need to grease and line a 6-inch cake tin. So I've done that because I keep all the butter wrappers, and I just put them in like that, and this comes out perfectly. So I save all my butter wrappers for this purpose, okay? I never throw them away. I keep everything. Anyway, so I'll be back in an hour and show you put the rest of the cake together. Okay, see you again in a minute. Bye for now. Bye. Oh, Sue, you stutter, you. Hello again. So I have just strained off the tea off the fruit. There's still a little bit of liquid in there, but that'll be fine. And now we're just going to put the butter in this up bowl, and then we're going to whisk it up. I did add a bit more ground almonds because I wanted some more whole almonds in here, so I added about 35 grams of almonds in here as well. So just thought I'd tell you that, because I wanted some bits of crunch in there. So I've just melted the clarified butter, so we're just going to whisk it up a bit using sugar. So we're just going to mix up the butter, and then we're going to add the eggs, alright? So this is the wet ingredient. Just add the eggs. We're supposed to do it one at a time. So try and do it one at a time. That was one. But normally you add the butter and the sugar together. And now we'll try, yeah, we're doing quite well with the eggs. That's 2 eggs. And then 3. So that's nice and fluffy. Right, so that's nice and fluffy there. So what we need to do now, just need to keep reading it so I remember what I'm doing. Right, so we soak the fruit, we cream the butter, not using sugar, but if you were, you use the sugar, but we're not. Add the eggs one at a time. We've done that with whisk the flowers. Well, I've mixed up the flowers together anyway. Baking powder and salt together, and then add to the batter mixture. So this is the batter mixture, okay? So now we're going to add our flowers to this, like so. And then our fruit. So we don't need to whisk this up, I don't think. And if you think your ingredients may be a bit dry at this stage, well, wait, put in the fruit first, because remember you've been soaking it, and then see what it's like. But it should be okay, it looks okay to me. Right, now I'm going to add the fruit, which has a little bit of tea residue in there still. You could use orange juice if you don't want to use tea, but I use tea because, well, I just thought I would use tea because I read one recipe and it said to use tea. So I thought I've not used tea. I used orange juice in another recipe, and that's looking a really good batter, by the way. So just mix that together. Look at that, that looks really good. And then it's done basically, you put it in the tin. So then we'll see what it looks like once it's cooked. And we'll have a taste test. So this is going to take 2 hours in all. So let me just tell you what you need to do for the temperature. So you've got to bake it for 30 minutes. Okay, once we put it in the tin, bake it for 30 minutes. Alright, hold on. Oh, yeah, so obviously preheat your oven, that's obvious. And then you've got to bake it at 170 degrees, that's 550 degrees Fahrenheit, sorry about that. Gas mark free. And then I think it's 50 degrees if you've got a fan oven. I don't have a fan oven. And then you grease and line a 6-inch by 4-inch round cake tin. Okay? And then, so you do all that other stuff in between, and then you bake it for 30 minutes in that temperature for gas mark free. Well, I'm doing it by gas marks. For 30 minutes, and then you turn it down, okay, to gas mark 2 to 150 degrees, which is 130 degrees Fahrenheit, fan oven, okay, so I hope that makes sense to you. And you bake for a further 1 3/4 hours. Sometimes my cakes don't take as long as what they say on here, okay, so we'll play it by ear. And the way to test your cake is to take it out, put a knife in the middle. If it comes out clean, it's done, okay? If it's not, put it back in. If it's starting to brown on the top, you could cover it up with some parchment paper, and you could move it down a shelf, like start off at the top shelf and then move it down. So what I will do with this cake, I will start it at the top of the oven for 30 minutes, and then I will turn the oven down, but I'll also move the cake down to the next shelf, because my oven is a catering oven and they tend to be very, very quick at cooking. So, and it's very temperamental to get it on the right temperature as well. Yeah, I find it really complicated, my oven. I just go by my experience, basically, not rules and regulations, okay? I go by my experience over 30 years in this industry, okay? Right, so I'm just putting my cake mix now into this tin, 6x4, or whatever you want. But 6x4 is probably the recommended tin. Okay, so it'll be quite dense, and I'm really looking forward to this cake. I hope it works, because if it works, I'll be making it over and over and over and over and over again. Because we do like fruit cake, but I do want to make low carb food and gluten free, and this will be amazing because I won't feel guilty when I'm eating it, because it doesn't contain any sugar or flour. So if it works, I'll be amazed. Well, a bit like my bread I made. The first time I made it, it didn't come out, but the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, God knows how many times I've made it now. The last time I made it, it was huge. It seems like every time I make it, I do think where you have a bread maker has a lot to do with it, and the conditions of the day, basically, like the warmth. But our bread maker is now in my partner's office. It was in our bedroom, but the smell of bread all night is a bit much. And the smell of low carb bread is the same, but it seems to be much more intense. The smell is a lot more intense than normal bread. It smells like bread, but the smell is overwhelming. Really overwhelming. So this cake, I remember doing a Dundee cake in this tin, and that took hours. So I'm hoping this doesn't take hours to cook like the Dundee cake did, because that did take a long time. But this is not the same as using flour. We're using oat, rice and almond. So let's see what it looks like. Anyway, so there it is. There's our cake. Okay, it'll come out of here no problem at all with all this lovely wrappers around it. So we're going to start off at the top of the oven, and then we're going to move it down. So the next time you see me, the cake will be done, and hopefully it works. So I'll see you again soon. So bye for now. Bye. Hello again, Sue here again from Sue's Dog Brockmire Kitchen. I just wanted to show you the cake that I just made. I'm just going to take the paper off. It's leaking all over the place, all the butter. It's done. It took slightly longer than predicted, as always. Things always seem to take a lot longer than they say they do. Oh, yeah.
Are you doing that?
I'm doing my video, just finishing it.
What?
With my wonderful cake I just made. Right. Okay, hello again. I'm just going to turn the cake over the other way up. Because what we want to do now is just decorate it a little bit. It's really, really, really hot. There. Okay, there's the cake. Looks really good. Smells just like a cake. Remember, this is a low carb gluten. Anyway, that didn't work. Trying to coat it didn't work. So anyway, I think we need to let it cool down for a minute. It's really, really, really hot. I'm just going to cut into it. Be much better if it was cold. But I just want to see. It's really crumbly. Because it's really, really, really good. I can see all the steam coming out. I just want to taste it. Oh, wow. This is light as a feather. The consistency is really, really light. Look, there's a bit of it. I think once it cools down and the butter goes cold, it'll hold together much, much, much better. But it smells just like a fruitcake, and it tastes amazingly light. And it tastes sweet enough to me, with no sugar in it. Remember, I didn't put no sugar in this cake, just dates and the fruit. And that tastes sweet enough to me. It's really nice. So, sorry. I have to show you the finished product, obviously. Even though I've just taken it out of the oven, you need to let it go cold so you can cut it. But there's the cake. And it tastes absolutely amazing. And if you want the ingredients for this recipe, leave me a comment below and I'll put the ingredients up for you. Remember, this is a no flour, no gluten, low carb cake. Look at it. Look, it's amazing. So if you would like the recipe for this really low carb, gluten-free cake, fruit cake, look, amazing. I think you could coat it with honey once it's gone cold, because at the moment, remember, it's boiling hot. I literally just took it out of the oven just so I could show you and finish this video. But it tastes amazing. It's really light. It's as light as a feather. Much lighter than normal cake. Really nice. So, if you'd like the recipe, please leave a comment below and I'll put it up for you. And I hope you enjoyed my channel, and I hope you enjoyed this cake, and I will be doing some more videos. I'm very slow at the moment because I'm trying to do my garden as well. I have to get my garden done before the spring because I need to get all the weeds and everything out and have it all freshly done before the springtime, when everything starts taking off. And then I won't have any time to do it, so I have to do it now. So this is the reason why I haven't been making cooking videos as well. It's very difficult to do both. But thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed it, please share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to my channel, please. I'm starting to get more subscribers now. Very slow progress, but I will keep making the videos if you want me to. But I'm really, really pleased with this cake. Even though it's boiling hot, and I try and cut things when they're boiling hot, it never works. They always crumble away. But I tell you, by tomorrow morning, when I leave it out here with just the mesh thing over it, I'll leave it out because it's freezing cold in this kitchen. It will be great to cut and to eat, but today it is a bit crumbly, so I will just let my partner try a piece. Well, some crumbs, because it's all breaking up, but it is amazing. So, low carb, gluten free cake, yummy. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again next time. So thanks for watching, and if you want the recipe, just leave me a comment and I'll put it up for you. This is my own recipe, and it's all just trial and error when I'm cooking. And if things go wrong, they go wrong, and that's just life, isn't it, really? So this is it. Okay, thank you for watching. I'll see you again soon. So bye for now. Bye.